Welcome to the Abrams Boxing Show, powered by Last Out Media and brought to you by www.15rounds.com, the worldwide leader in boxing news. Also, Abrams Boxing PR Media and Broadcasting, the industry standard for boxing media relations and play-by-play broadcasting. Also, check out www.abramsboxing.com, Abrams Boxing on YouTube, as well as M. Abrams Boxing on Twitter and Marc Abrams Boxing on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. I'm Marc Abrams, and our show this week is being powered by mybookie.ag, the best online gambling service, and for booking and to get your bets out there, mybookie.ag. Be joined later in the show by Jamel Herring, who has come back and be back in the ring on November 7th in New York, taking on Nicholas Molina. Did a great interview with the former 130-pound world champion. So let's get right down to it. Last Saturday night, in Rosenberg, Texas, just outside of Houston, IBF champion Vincenzo Gualtieri took on WBO champion Yanibek Alamhanallah. It was Alamhanallah getting the 6-round stoppage, going to 15-0 with 10 knockouts. Gualtieri drops to 21-1-1 with 7 knockouts. Alamhanallah was pretty dominant, scored a knockdown in round 5, and then from an uppercut, hurt him again in round 6. The fight was stopped mercifully at 125 of round number 6 for Yanibek Alamhanallah, who is probably one of the best middleweights in the world right now. The middleweight's a little downtrodden, so hopefully we will see some bigger names, better fights for the Kazakh-style Alamhanallah. WBO junior middleweight champion Tim Tszyu went to 24-0. He made the first defense of his newly, cemented WBO 154-pound world championship after Jamel Charlo was stripped because he moved up a couple weight divisions and a lot of money to fight Canelo Alvarez. So Tszyu dominated Brian Mendoza. Mendoza now 22-3. Fight took place on Showtime, which may or may not be the last boxing event on Showtime. Scores are 116-111, 116-112, and 117-111 for Tim Tszyu in Australia. Co-feature saw Sam Goodman go to 16-0. He won a 12-round unanimous decision over Miguel Flores. Flores, the former world title challenger, now 25-5-1. Scores in that fight were 118-107, 120-105 twice for Sam Goodman. He dropped Flores with a body shot in round 8. Flores also had a couple point deduction for low blows. Dominant performance from Sam Goodman, a guy who beat Raif Salim. He's now become a player in the 122, maybe 126-pound divisions. Former world champion Miguel Berchelt defeated former world title challenger Diego Ruiz. Berchelt, who took some time off, is now 39-3, 35 knockouts. Ruiz 24-8-1. Blaze took in Yucatan, Mexico. Berchelt dominated the first couple rounds, and Ruiz said he was done, hand injury. Miguel Berchelt back in the win column. Unbeaten WBA number 2, WBC number 3, IBF number 3, super middleweight Eric Bazinian with the 31-0 with 22 knockouts. Stopped Ronald Ellis. Good win for Bazinian now. See, a pretty good fighter. 18-4-2 now to retain the NABF and NABA super middleweight titles. That took place in Montreal on Wednesday night. Bazinian scored a knockdown with a couple right hands in round 6. Ellis was very wobbled. He got up. The fight was stopped at 144. In a female super welterweight rematch, Femke Hermans scored her second straight win over Mary Spencer to claim the vacant IBF 154-pound titles. Hermans, it was a majority decision, 96-94, 97-93, and 95-95 for Femke Hermans. A couple big fights come up this week. This Saturday night live on the Zone, this Saturday afternoon, Jack Catterall defends his WBA Intercontinental title against former multi-weight world champion Jorge Linares. That will take place in Liverpool, England. Catterall is a pretty big favorite in the fight. He's dropped he dropped his fight to Josh Taylor a year and a half ago. Come back with with a win. Linares, who's lost 3 in a row, moving up in weight again, 140 pounds. Like Jack Catterall, big in this fight. Then Saturday night on the zone, WBO number 1 ranked welterweight in the world, Alexei Rocha, 23-115 knockouts, takes on Giovanni Santillan, 31-0, 16 knockouts. Both guys have been former guests on the Abrams Boxing Show. That will take place at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, a place I call the Fabulous Forum. That will take place live on the zone. Also Saturday, there was supposed to be a big fight on the Peacock Network, and we'll get into that. Buatu Aziz. Aziz gets hurt, so we will revisit that fight. But earlier this week, I had a chance to talk to former world champion Jamel Herring, and the very good interview, and this is how it's. Now, join me on the line is a former U.S. Olympian, former 130-pound world champion, and even though it was a short retirement, we'll call it the comebacking Jamel Herring, who on November the 7th takes on Nicholas Molina in New York City as part of a special night of Broadway boxing. How you doing, Jamel?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy day, but I'm excited. I'm doing everything I needed to do to stay in shape, and I'm just happy.
So before we get into the fight per se, obviously after the fight with Jermaine Ortiz, you kind of said that you were maybe pretty much done. What happened? The change of heart here?
When I started commentating with Top Rank, it was just that you see all these fights up close, and it just gives you that excitement and hunger back in you. And honestly, I got to actually blame Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley, because those two individuals were the ones that kept saying, you still got something in the tank. Because I would always come to the meetings, and they would always see that I was still fit. So like, you don't look like a retired guy. So they would always push me, you need to come back, you need to go back. And that was really how it pretty much played out.
So, I mean, how long, how long into your quote retirement did this all take place?
I'd probably say a good year, because it was last May of 2022 when I fought Jermaine, and then maybe towards the summer of 2023 or so, that's when I started basically figuring out how would I want to come back into the game of boxing, and for me it just had to make sense. I didn't want to just to come back just to come back. It just had this something. It had to be a purpose behind coming back.
I mean, it's funny. I do a lot of television broadcasts myself, and you do a hell of a job. So I thought you were going to be, I thought you were going to be entrenched in that chair, but I guess the bug or the itch still needed to be scratched, I guess, so to speak.
Yes, and my good friend Christina Pancha, of course, she would love for me to be in the chair more, but at times they would always rotate us out. Like in 1 minute it'll be Michaela Mayer. It'll be Chris Algieri or someone else. So it was like I didn't feel like waiting for the next thing to come. So I was like, I'm a U.S. Marine, so I feel like I always have to stay busy and motivated, and I got to do something. So I felt like, why not just go back into a training camp and work my way back into fighting again?
How long into the training camp, or even maybe before the training camp, did you have to maybe kind of convince yourself, you know what, Andre and Tim, you were right. I still have something left. Did you know that going into this training camp, or there's still a little doubt in your mind?
No, there was still no. I'm gonna be honest. I'm human. There was still a little doubt, but it took me about a good week, especially to get acclimated with the elevation here in Las Vegas again, and then to get in some decent shape as weeks went on, and working with Wayne McCullough. He's a great guy. He's a great trainer. I have to admit, the one aspect that was missing out of my game, honestly, was defense. Defense was missing out of my arsenal, and with Wayne, he's showed me so much in terms of the old school of Eddie Futch route. Going to learning things from Eddie Futch that he learned, and he's passing it down to me. And mainly with defense, it made me a lot more comfortable being in the ring again. Taking chances. So working with Wayne has been great for me, and it just took me, like I said, a couple of weeks, 2 weeks max, to really get back into the groove of things. Like, okay, I got this. Because honestly, right now, I feel like I can fight right now. I feel like I could fight last week. You guys know it. I don't never have to go to camp for weight. So for me, it's all about fine tuning and technique.
What's the thought process fighting an undefeated fighter, Nicholas Molina. I mean, you could have came back, kind of work the rust off, work the skills off, but you want to kind of get back into it. You're fighting an undefeated fighter.
Absolutely, absolutely. I felt like if I was gonna come, like again, I had to come back with. If I was gonna come out, I was gonna come back with a purpose. If I want to get back in the mix, I gotta get back and take these challenges on. I'm not. I again, like you pointed out, you see guys they come back and they kind of like fight guys with losing records and so on. And I didn't think that would do anything good for me, especially with a guy of my experience. I didn't think that would do much for me. I don't think that type of fight would tell people that I'm back. You know what I mean? So I felt like hey, again, I just needed something. I just needed something that was worth my time and worth me to really set really put my mindset into like, hey, you gotta take this as another world title opportunity. So that's why I took this task on.
This fight card, I'm sure it's extra special to you because it's some of the things going around the card. Obviously, close to your heart. Proceeds of the events called Heroes for the Hudson. Proceeds from the event are going to support the merging vets and players in West Point Society in New York. Obviously, you being a serviceman, being involved in a show like that, is a little extra special for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, the charity and the event around the card is bigger than just my comeback. It's going out to help people, those in need, from the police force, the NYPD, to fellow military vets. Again, people was asking if I was coming back for the money. I'm pretty much donating half my purse, to the charity as well. So it was not like I said. It's for me. It's for the love of boxing. It's to give back. And I always tell myself anyway, the money comes with the big fight. So it's never a thing like I never focus on just, making putting a dollar in my pocket. I feel like if that was the case, I could have easily came back as an opponent and threw my name in the hat to fight one of these tougher challenges just because of my name. But if I was gonna come back and be serious, I want to give myself a chance to win and compete for another world title. So I have to work my way up slowly but surely.
Is there any of the world champions in particular? I'm not saying you're calling anyone out, but is there any one of them
Oh
that
yeah,
you can see your?
absolutely. Listen. I want to fight in the UK. I'm not afraid. I'm one of those guys that's not afraid to travel. I'm a U.S. Marine, so we're used to traveling anyway. Again, me and Joe Cordina were good friends. Like we kind of made it. Hey, we could fight. Honestly, I could have fought Joe Cordina in September, but I went like again, like that's what I mean. I want to give myself a chance to win a fight, not just make a payday. So I took this fight, and again, if I can't get past this fight, there's no purpose of going that route. If I'm being honest with myself, but Joe Cordina, he's probably I just seen Lee Wood vacated his title, so he's probably going to fight Lee Wood next, which I can respect. But again, I think Josh Warrington wants to move up to super featherweight. So again, if I can fight Josh Warrington at 130 pounds overseas in leagues or on that undercard, I will do so. Mayo Navarrete, he has a title that I held, the WBO title. Even Lamont Roach expressed about doing a rematch with me if he wins the WBA title from Hector Garcia. So if you look, I still have options. People still are interested in seeing me fight at that stage, but I just have to take one fight at a time. So again, but mainly I want to fight overseas. Joe Cordina, Josh Warrington, like I said, Lamont Roach, Hector Garcia, Emmanuel Navarrete, any of those guys. Doesn't matter.
Joe Cordina, of course, defending. You have a tough title defense against the Bell Entertainment fighter Edward Vasquez on November 4th. So
Yes.
you never know if
Yeah,
now that you're
yeah. I'm keeping my eye on everything.
And you're fighting on the Bell Entertainment card. Hey, maybe Vasquez wins the fight. Lou, you got the relationship with Lou. Vasquez with
Yes.
Lou. It could be easier said than done.
Yes, sir. I mean, any route to the title, I'm all for it.
You fought Jermaine Ortiz. You moved up to 135, and now you're talking about going, staying back down at 130. Did you feel that maybe the weight was maybe you probably shouldn't have gone up in weight for that fight?
No, Jamel Herring. The thing is, Jamel Herring is a special talent. He's just a special talent. You guys seen it after we fought. I mean, look how well he did against Lomachenko. So it was one of those things at the time. Nobody didn't really know Jamel Herring, so they just thought it was like maybe I don't have it anymore. No, it was a tough fight, of course. But Jamel Herring is a real good talent. I'm even working with Jamel Herring now. I mean, me and Jamel Herring have become good friends. since then. And I want to see Jermaine Ortiz succeed and become a world champion eventually. So I don't think it was so much of that I just couldn't do it. I just think that it was just, Jermaine was the bigger guy, of course, but he was just mainly he just talented. If you watched we watched that fight, it was kind of back and forth until the later rounds, and he pulled away. He pulled away from me. So again, I take nothing from it. And before then, I fought guys like Shakur Stevens. So everything from my career has never been easy anyway. That's why when I came back, you guys never see me complain, never make excuses. I just take my losses as lessons. And even for this camp, I was supposed to help Shakur Stevenson out because he's fighting a southpaw, and I was willing to send my services to help him out. Today I sparred with Liam Paru from Australia. He was number one on the WBO. He's going to be on the Devin Haney card. This week also. He fought Montana Love. So he needed a southpaw, and Liam's a big guy, he's a big hitter. But this is what I'm saying. Like today was a busy day for me alone. I went from sparring with Liam, then directly into strength and conditioning. I don't have any, bruises on me or anything. Liam's a great guy. I'm supposed to spar sometime this week with Devin Haney as well to help Devin Haney out because Devin Haney's fighting a southpaw in Regis Prograis. So again, I'm not looking for anything easy. I enjoy being pushed. I enjoy a challenge, even if it's in training camp, because I feel like if you put all the hard work in camp, the fights will be a lot easier on you because you gain a lot of experience and knowledge within the training camps.
How many training camps? I know obviously you're from Long Island. How many? I mean, have you trained a lot out in Las Vegas? Because
this is my first. This is my first, and it's been great. It's been great again. There's been so many great guys out here. Even a kid that I'm working with now in the gym, Brady Ochoa. He's 16 years old, going pro in Tijuana. Real special talent. He's real special talent. My partner Jerry Casares and I, we're even trying to sign him to our management because we see great things in this kid. If you develop him the right way, he's like I say, he's still young. You don't want to rush a kid like that with special talent. And so on. There's so much great sparring out here that I feel confident in myself again going into this fight because again, like I said, I'm sparring with guys that's either rated in the top of their sanctioned body class or again, Shakur Stevenson was he wanted to spar with me. Devin Haney called last week for sparring, so I'm doing something right, you know what I mean? So again, I'm just happy though because again, I'm just grateful. And I'm just motivated. I'm motivated.
A couple more questions, Jamel Herring. You just mentioned it. Hey, have you said to yourself since you've been out in Vegas? Have you said to yourself, you know what, man? I wish I would have maybe done a couple more camps out here.
Maybe, yeah. At time to do. But I feel like my journey, even with the change of trainers, I still take things that I learned from my past experience. Like, I love B&B boxing, Bomac, Red Spike, Esau Dieguez. I've learned a lot over there with them and Terrence Crawford, so I still implement those tools, today that I learned from them. But like I said, with Wayne McCullough, just that he's defense. He's Eddie Futch. He's old school, and I needed to learn that one aspect and put it in my arsenal. Yes, of course, I would have loved to have more camps here, obviously, but again, I had a great experience everywhere that I was at in the past.
And one quick non-boxing question. Obviously, being the former U.S. Marine and now everything going on in the world, do you watching the news a little bit more closely than with everything that's going on now?
Oh yes, and it's a very touchy subject because another guy that I'm sparring with in the gym, Tomer Benny, he's training to be the first.
We lost Jamel for a second. Something tells me you might have got a phone call. Let me see if I can just put here. You're back. I got give another. Here you go. I hear you. You're back. Frozen for a minute. Jamel Herring joining us, the former 130-pound world champion, be back in action in November. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can hear you through my.
Okay.
No,
so you're sparring with
it's a touchy topic because one of my sparring partners, Tomer Benny, he's from Israel and he's trying to become the first fighter from Israel to make to the Olympics. And it's like, so it's kind of like, I like today we sparred today also, and I just wanted to talk to him like, how you feeling? Because he was supposed to go home last weekend, right? Matter of fact, he was supposed to go home, but obviously he can't go home. So it was one of those things where like,
Correct.
I know the realities of war. I know what it brings, and again, I got friends and near and dear to my heart that are supporting on both sides. So it's one, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm not ignorant. I don't know exactly, what the details of everything.
Lost Jamel Herring again. Like I said, I think probably got a phone call. That's why. Here you go. You're back.
Like I said, I don't know the exact details of everything, so I keep everything to myself. But again, I'm a
Yeah,
human. I'm a human, so I just want to see, good things happen with good people. So I don't really
exactly.
speak on it.
Amen. Yeah, I just want to know. Obviously, just want to know if you're watching the news. Just
Yeah,
a
I'm
few
watching.
minutes
I'm
extra.
watching.
Yeah. So,
I'm watching.
well, any final thoughts before we see you back in the ring on November 7th in New York, getting back close to home? That's why one last question. Long Island
Oh
guy
no.
fighting.
Again, like I said, it's great to be back in New York to fight. I didn't fight in New York since Linares versus Lomachenko back in 2018. So that's my fault in New York. So it's great to be home. And again, I hope for hopefully working with Lou DeBella and DeBella Entertainment that I can have a lot more cards home. And my dream is always to still headline in the Garden. So hopefully after this, that could be a dream come true.
Never see you never know. Could be a world title fight again in your future, champ. Thank you for a few minutes of time. Always enlightening. One of the best guests we have because, like I said, you're very you have a lot to say about a lot of different topics. I appreciate a few minutes of your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Real quickly, great job by Jamel Herring. Some news items. Showtime Network is done in boxing after a 38-year run. Parent company Paramount Global issued the following statement: as we evolve our strategy to do more efficiently, allocate resources, and align our content offering across the business, we made a difficult decision not to move forward with boxing or any other content produced by the Showtime sports team. Showtime will continue to air and support the remaining 2023 boxing slate and honor the obligations through the end of the year. So obviously we got the pay-per-view on November 25th with Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez. The undercard for the December 9th pay-per-view with Devin Haney and Regis Prograis was announced. Liam Perot will take on Montana Love. Andy Cruz, a 2020 Olympic gold medalist, he's 1-0, will take on Hector Tanahara, who's 21-1-1. And also the IBF female bantamweight title, Ebony Bridges against Avril Matthew, a pair of Australians fighting in San Francisco on December 9th. Christian and Billy will take on Rohan Murdoch as the co-feature bout on January 13th to the Callum Smith Artur Beterbiev fight. Billy, 25-0, 21 knockouts, takes on Murdoch, 27-2, 19 knockouts. The Joshua Buatsi Dan Aziz fight that was supposed to happen this Saturday was supposed to be the first fight on the Peacock NBC deal that Boxer announced on Tuesday. Hall of Fame promoter Don King will be doing two cards. November 4th, he will feature the WBC Cruiserweight Championship. Noel McCallan taking on Alanga Makabu. And on December 2nd, Adrian Broner taking on Chris Howard. And you may know the guy who's the play-by-play man on that fight. That being me. I'll be behind the microphone on November 4th and December 2nd for both those cards. I'm very excited to get down to Miami. We'll have a lot of content on 15rounds.com, Abrams Boxing on YouTube, and interviews that will appear on the Abrams Boxing Show in the next coming weeks. The WBA ruled that the Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, they did not give the thumbs up to Queensberry Promotions appeal for that fight that happened last month. The WBA Cruiserweight Committee, the Championship Committee ordered champion Arsen Golamarian take on Yonier Dudikurs. That fight will happen very soon as well. The WBA Championship Committee also, actually, that's the same thing with Golamarian against Dorticas. I must have wrote this stuff down twice. Well, that's our show this week. I'd like to thank Jamel Herring for joining us. Great interview. We'll be back next week. I have some interviews scheduled for some world title fights coming up, so we will have some very special guests next week. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the Abrams Boxing Show.